Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Honest Football Talk, where I, Thomas Swelling, give you guys my honest take on everything going on in the NFL world today. And you know what, guys? Today is the day. We're finally here. It's finally the NFL season. Today is Thursday. We have our opening kickoff tonight, and it's going to be the Ravens versus the Chiefs, and I'm pretty excited to see how it goes down. Hope you guys are too. We're finally here. It's finally time to kick off that NFL season, and what better way to start off this episode than to go over some of the news that's taken place over this past week in the NFL. And to start out our news week, let's go ahead and tackle our first topic. The first bit of NFL news that I wanted to get into for this episode is the recent Trent Williams holdout for the 49ers. As you guys know, throughout training camp, Trent Williams has not participated with the 49ers and hasn't taken place in any sort of team activities. As we know, Trent Williams was not very happy with his current contract situation. He was looking with the 49ers to try to improve his contract, try to get some more money, try to get a brand new deal with them, because he's proven to be one of the best left tackles in the league for the past few years playing in the NFL. He's definitely been a force to be reckoned with on the field. Dude is great. I totally understand why he wanted more money and why the 49ers, wanted to do everything they could to get him back on the field. Now, as you guys do know, there has been a lot of drama with the 49ers this offseason. Unfortunately, they've been going crazy with the Brandon Ayuk news, along with Trent Williams, and another story that we'll get into in a little bit. But I think one of the main reasons why Trent Williams hasn't been taken care of is because the 49ers have been more focused on Brandon Ayuk this whole offseason. Brandon Ayuk has been wanting a trade. They finally came to a deal, settled on a 4-year deal that apparently had been in place since early August, but Brandon Ayuk refused to sign it at first, and he even admitted in a recent press conference that he kind of made it a little bit more difficult than it needed to be. It just goes to show that there's been a lot of drama with the 49ers, and it makes sense why this Trent Williams kind of fiasco kind of went a little bit longer than it probably should have. And why it was kind of, in the background too, because a lot of people haven't really been talking about Trent Williams as much. It's been a lot more about Brandon Ayuk and what's going on there, but now that Brandon Ayuk has been settled, it was time to focus on Trent Williams, and luckily that got settled fairly quickly. As the new 49ers agreement, they agreed to a 3-year deal that includes $82.6 million. Pretty crazy deal. Breaking down the contract, the 49ers agree to rework Williams' contract by giving him a 3-year, $82.6 million deal. The contract includes $48 million at signing, with $25.69 million via a signing bonus. So big money for the big guy. Definitely deserves it. Great left tackle. Probably deserves even more money, honestly. I believe left tackle is definitely one of the most important positions on the NFL field. So it makes sense to why these teams would definitely want to lock down that position. So, good news for Trent Williams. Personally, as an Eagles fan, was kind of hoping for the 49ers to kind of take a backseat this year and not be as dominant from last year. But unfortunately, it looks like they got most of their pieces back from last year and are looking to basically repeat and get themselves back to the Super Bowl. We'll see how that works out. I personally don't think that they can, but you never know. See how the team works. Definitely good for Trent Williams and good for the 49ers going forward. And with that, we'll go on to our second NFL story. The next story that I wanted to cover involves another contract situation. This one wasn't, of course, a big deal. Wasn't a bunch of drama around it, and definitely well deserved that it needed to be. This contract that I'm going into is Patrick Surtain for the Denver Broncos had just agreed to terms on a 4-year, $96 million extension. Patrick Surtain and the Denver Broncos have agreed to terms on a 4-year, $96 million extension with $77.5 million guaranteed. So lots of guaranteed money there for Patrick Surtain. He's kind of a quiet workhorse for the Denver Broncos. You don't hear a lot about him, mostly because Denver is never that great. There's been a lot of fiascos with Russell Wilson. A lot more focus on the offense and Sean Payton, how he's handled that team. But when you look defensively, Denver's always been a sound unit defensively, even after they've gotten rid of Von Miller. Like they've always been playing well on the field defensively. with Justin Simmons as their safety, who they just recently lost, and now they kept Patrick Surtain, made sure to pay him. Dude has been a beast on the field. I got a feeling that even with Justin Simmons gone, Denver's going to be able to find the next man up and replace him. And it was good that they paid Patrick Surtain because he's a vital piece of that defense. I think that Patrick Surtain is going to be a big part of Denver's future. Definitely in their plans for building the team that they want to build. They just drafted Bo Nix as the next quarterback for their franchise. So we'll see how that franchise goes. I got a feeling that Denver's going to end up having a much better season than people predict. They've had a lot of turmoil because of Russell Wilson, but if Bo Nix can play anywhere to where he was in his college career, I think that the Denver Broncos will be just fine. And with that, let's go ahead and get into our third NFL story for this week. And this one's pretty wild, guys. The 49ers rookie wide receiver, rookie Pearsall, was unfortunately shot in the chest. Looked like it happened during an argument over a Rolex, I believe. Unfortunately, Ricky was shot in the chest and ended up having to go to the hospital. Fortunately, no vital organs were affected, so it looks like that he will end up having a full recovery without any complications. So really, really great to hear that for Ricky. Really, really wild that something like this happens, especially to the 49ers with all the drama they've been having this offseason. Really, really, really sad to hear this for Ricky, but especially because he had been struggling with a shoulder injury earlier in the preseason, wasn't able to get up onto the field, and he had just recently returned to practice before this shooting occurred, and now he's back on the injury list, or he's technically on the non-football injury list after the shooting, so he's not going to be back at least for a couple weeks. Hopefully he'll be back ready to go for his rookie season, and when he's ready to play, hopefully he'll show out, he'll ball out. This similar kind of situation happened with, if people remember, Brian Robinson Jr. for the Washington Commanders. He had gotten shot and missed some time and came back and played really, really well for the Commanders. So hopefully this is sort of a similar situation for Ricky. It's really sad that he ended up getting shot, but hopefully he's able to come back stronger than ever and proves why he deserves to be in the NFL. Ricky was technically a first-round pick. He was selected by San Francisco with the 31st overall pick in this last NFL draft, so the dude's definitely got talent. Let's just hope that, all these crazy things that's been going on in the offseason, doesn't affect that talent. Hopefully he's able to produce on the field once he's able to get out there. And yeah, I believe that's everything that I got for all the NFL news stories for this week. Let me know what you guys think. If there's any crazy stories that I didn't get to cover, what you guys think about those. If there's anything going on, just let me know. Love to hear from you guys and love to respond to you. Going from there, let's go ahead and get into the Thursday night preview. This is it, guys. We're finally here. Our first game of real NFL action. This game's going to count. And the first game that we got is Lamar Jackson versus the Kansas City Chiefs, or Lamar Jackson. Yeah, it's just Lamar Jackson, sorry. It's the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs, with Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes as the two opposing quarterbacks. Going to be really, really cool to see this matchup take place. Going to be really awesome to see these two superstar-type quarterbacks go at it at each other, and really, really curious to see, what the result's going to be. I couldn't tell you which one I personally think is going to end up winning because it's a toughie. Now, Kansas City is the home team. Being the home team, I think, is a huge advantage in this type of matchup, especially when you got like two giants going at each other. That it could be either team sort of thing. When looking at this game, one of the things that I really wanted to break down is something that Lamar said. There's a quote from Lamar here that I got from NFL.com. Lamar Jackson on the rematch with the Chiefs, him saying, "Any game I play in, I feel like it's a revenge game." So this quote from Lamar tells me that, he's out here to get his revenge. He wants to prove to the world why Lamar got his MVP vote. He wants to prove that his team's capable of going to the Super Bowl and winning it. So I got a feeling that Lamar's going to come out here slinging it. He's going to put up probably one of his better performances, I think. Personally, I think that he's going to come out here ready to go, even though it's an away game. We'll see exactly how Lamar does, but be expecting some big numbers from him, especially if you got him in fantasy, or I don't know, if you're a betting man, bet on him to have a touchdown. I got a feeling that dude's going to end up getting in the end zone one way or another. But going from there, I think that overall, it's going to be it's going to be really really close. I'd say it's only going to be like a 3-point type game. We'll give my prediction here, like I did way back with the with some of the preseason games. See if I can keep a record going. Let's see. I'm going to say the Chiefs will probably win because they are the home team. It's going to be like 24-21. That's my prediction. We'll say Chiefs will win. They'll kick probably a game-winning field goal towards the end of the fourth. They'll have the final possession because that's just how that's just how Patrick Mahomes is. Once he gets the ball in his hands, even with less than 2 minutes left on the clock, as long as he's got probably about, I'd say 40 seconds is probably what he needs. As long as he's got that, he'll get down the field and get them their game-winning field goal. Harrison Butker is just too good of a kicker, not to be able to make any sort of clutch kicks that are needed to take place for the win. So I got the Chiefs winning. I think some other names to keep an eye on, of course, is Travis Kelce. How much is he going to be involved in the passing game? He's getting a lot older. We're getting to that point where he's considering retirement. So is Travis Kelce still going to be a focal point of that offense? Are they going to go to Rashee Rice? Sky Moore going to be a part of it? How much is the running backs going to be a part? How much is Isaiah Pacheco going to get the load? So we'll see. We'll see how Kansas City plays this game. And same with the Ravens. They just added Derrick Henry. How much is Derrick Henry going to be a part of their game plan? How healthy is Mark Andrews now that he's back? How's the wide receivers going to look for the Ravens? Is Zay Flowers going to be wide receiver 1 again? Or is Rashad Bateman going to step up and take his place as the wide receiver 1? There's been a lot of hype for Rashad Bateman this offseason. He tends to play really, really well in practice, it seems. So we'll see, if it translates to the field this year. So yeah, curious to see how this game ends up turning out. But like I said, I got the Chiefs winning 24-21. Book it. And that's my Thursday night matchup. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see how it goes tonight. Really excited for the season to start. It's like Christmas for us NFL fans. We finally get to see real NFL action and get to see all these players try their hearts out to, make it to the Super Bowl. So really looking forward to that and seeing how the season starts. And with that, I think we should go ahead and get into our week predictions here. Since I do only do this show once a week, I figured it's best to go ahead and cover the rest of the games that we got going on for this weekend. And we'll come back, of course, next Thursday to break it down and see how everything went down. But for the first game, of course, since there's so many games going on, of course, this week, I'm not going to break down every single one, but I'm going to try to take games from each basically time slot, or take a game from each time slot this week and give you guys my prediction on it. So the first one that we're going to get into is the Eagles versus the Packers on Friday. Since this is the only Friday game, definitely want to cover it. Plus, I always like to cover the Eagles. They're my team. Going to be interesting because going to be one of the first games ever played in Brazil. So there's been a lot of drama around the travel to Brazil, whether it's safe for players to go out of an evening and, have a good time. It's more like, it seems like these players are being told to stay in their hotel rooms, not being able to get out much. So how much is that going to affect the on-field play? I feel like it's going to mess with the psyche a little bit. Being in this new type of environment, being in such an unknown area and everything being brand new, I got a feeling that's going to affect the psyches of some of these players. And it might end up starting rough, but I got a feeling towards the end we'll start seeing a lot more sound football, if that makes sense. So Going with all that being said, I think the Eagles are going to definitely win here. It's going to be probably, I think it's going to be a little bit more higher scoring affair, just because I feel like both defenses going to take some time to get established, where the offenses are kind of already established on both teams. There's a lot of more familiar faces coming back for both teams on offense, is what I'm trying to get at there. So I got a feeling that both offenses will succeed where the defenses will need to catch up throughout the game. So I think it's going to be something like if I had to guess, let's go 27-23. Eagles, 27-23. That's going to be my final score prediction. I know it's weird, just kind of throwing some numbers out there, but at the same time, I do think that both teams are going to score at least 3 times, I think. So we'll see how it goes. Definitely excited to see the Eagles finally play. Going to be a lot of fun. See how the new Saquon Barkley does for the Eagles, see how he fits in with the offense, and see how the offensive line does without Jason Kelce. That's definitely a big thing to pay attention to as an Eagles fan. But yeah, like I said, 27-23 is my final prediction for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, the next game that I wanted to cover, this is a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. This is the Indianapolis Colts at home facing off against the Houston Texans. I picked this game because I think it's going to be really interesting to see these young quarterbacks. We don't know much about Anthony Richardson. How much is he going to be an actual pro in the NFL? Does he have what it takes to be a superstar? Where C.J. Stroud, he showed what he has. He shows that he has what it takes, is what I'm trying to say. He definitely showed that he's got a lot of skill and a lot in the tank to show that he could be one of the best in the NFL if all the cards align. I think that C.J. Stroud could end up being in the talks for MVP this year. Just depends on how well these pieces mesh together. They just added Joe Mixon in the offseason as a running back, and of course they traded for Stephon Diggs. How well is he going to mesh in with the wide receiver room? There's been a lot of drama around Stephon Diggs and how much of a diva he technically is in the locker room when he doesn't get the ball. Is that going to have an effect on C.J. Stroud? Is that going to be more beneficial to C.J. Stroud, or is that going to be more a hindrance? We'll see as the season goes on. So I'm really, really curious to see how this game turns out between the Colts and Texans, because I really, really do think that both teams have a lot of hype and a lot of young potential, and we'll see how both quarterbacks play out. Personally, when it comes to predicting this game, it's really, really tough because I think it could go either way. I think Texans are the much more put together team. They have the much more sound frame, I think, when it comes to putting all the pieces together. So I think the Texans are going to end up taking this game. It'll be tight though, and I think it'll be a low scoring affair just because one thing, I think Houston's got a good defense, and I just don't think that either team's going to be lighting it up on each other, because I think Colts also have a very good defense as well, and I could be completely wrong. Maybe it'll be, lights out scoring every possession, but I do got a feeling that both defense will step it up, and of course this is week 1, so it might be a little bit more difficult to get game plans to, fully take place. Might have some rust to shake off in the first half, so I'm thinking it's going to be in the lows. It's going to be like 2017 for the Texans. Texans win 20-17. And that's my final prediction there. I think it's gonna come down to the wire. Houston's gonna have to stop the Colts from driving on their final drive to make sure that they hold on to the victory. So that's my thoughts on that game. See how it turns out. And next we'll go ahead and go into the 4 o'clock window. Teams I want to cover here are the Los Angeles Chargers. They'll be playing at home against the Las Vegas Raiders, who will be technically away. I think this one's also going to be somewhat close. This one's really weird to me because there's a lot of change between these two teams from last year. Not a lot of the same pieces, especially with the Chargers offense. Completely different wide receiver core. And different running back as well. When it comes to Raiders, it's completely different quarterback. It's going to be a completely different system in which they, run everything. I think for both teams, with all the turnover between the two teams, this one's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. We're going to get to see for the first time how good Jim Harbaugh is as a head coach, and we'll see if he's able to, keep Justin Fields as good as Justin Fields. I'm sorry, Justin Herbert. I get the names correct. I'm sorry, not Fields. He's with the Steelers, but yes, Justin Herbert. We'll see if Jim Harbaugh can, make Justin Herbert, an even better prospect than what he already basically is in the NFL. See if he's able to do well with these weapons that are brand new to the offense. See how well Ladd McConkey's gonna transition to the NFL, and then we'll see how the Raiders do. They have Gardner Minshew as their starter. Love Gardner, was great when he backed up with the Eagles. Wish him all the best, but is he really the piece that's going to get them to the promised land? Probably not. But with Devontae Adams with him, he's got a much better wide receiver here in Devontae Adams, and they drafted Brock Bowers, so let's see how good Bowers is. Everyone talks about him being this prodigy. Maybe he can help carry Gardner Minshew to the promised land. I'm curious to see how it turns out. When it comes to my prediction, I'm stumped on this. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair as well with this one. It's going to be like a 17-14 type game, and I think it's going to go to the Raiders. I'm going to give it to the Raiders. I just think that, I don't know, there's really no other reason other than the thinking that Chargers have lost so much and there's so much turnover that it's going to take a while for them to get on their feet. So I'm going to go with the Raiders. Raiders will get the win there. Alrighty. And number 4, the next matchup that I wanted to cover, I think is going to be really interesting, is I'd say the Los Angeles Rams, who are going to be away, against the Detroit Lions, who are at home. This one's going to be obviously very interesting because we get the whole Matthew Stafford and Detroit Lions matchup again. Everyone's always looking forward to that. At least I personally am. I always like to see Matthew Stafford return to his home, see how he plays against everybody. I think he's got a chance to do really, really well. Rams, I think, are still really good. Not a lot of people talk about them as much. It's always about the 49ers in that division, but the Rams have always been up there. They had won a Super Bowl not too long ago with some of the pieces that are still on that team, and I think that, they have a chance to still be dominant, especially if everyone can stay healthy. I think the Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp connection is going to be on point again this year, and Cooper Kupp's going to be one of the leaders in receiving, I think, this year. So we'll see. As long as everybody can stay healthy, I think that's a very big reality, and I got a feeling this is going to be a very high-scoring affair. Both offenses are on fire. Jared Goff has really come on the scene. He deserves a lot more respect. I don't talk about him nearly as much, but he should be talked about with a lot more respect. He came out as the number 1 pick years ago and did not do great under Jeff Fisher, but and even with Sean McVay, he didn't do great with him when he was traded there. Finally gets to a place with Dan Campbell where he's just, able to be himself, able to be the managing type quarterback that he needs to be, able to, make the plays that are in the best interest for Detroit. And he's very smart with the football. Dude knows what he's doing. He's been to the Super Bowl, been to 2 AFC and NFC championships. He knows what he's doing when it gets into the playoffs as well. The guy can play under clutch situations. I can see why the Lions trust him and paid him. It's going to be really interesting to see how Jared Goff does this year, to really prove to the world that he does belong in the elites. We'll see. I definitely think that he's got the potential for it, and we'll see how it plays out. This is game 1. This is part of the way and how you continue to tell people that you belong, how you continue to prove yourself that you belong. You gotta keep producing those stats. So we'll see how he does this year, see how he does against the Rams week 1, and personally I think he's going to do well. I think this one's going to be one that gets into the 30s. I think it's going to be like 35-31 lines. That's going to be my final score prediction. They're going to score a lot. They have a lot of weapons. They have Jahmyr Gibbs. They have David Montgomery. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have Sam Laporta. All these guys, really, really great. They'll be scoring. Where the Rams, they also have some weapons in Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I think that they'll do just fine, but they're not going to be able to keep up with Detroit. So final score, 35-31 for Detroit. Alrighty, with that, let's get into our final matchup to take care of. This will be the New York Jets versus the San Francisco 49ers. New York Jets are the away team, where 49ers are the home team. I personally would like to see the Jets win this. I just don't think so. I think it is going to be a lot closer than what people think. This will be the Monday night game also. Forgot to mention that. The 49ers, I think that they just got all their pieces back now. Now that all the drama is over, now that Brandon Ayuk's back, now that Trent Williams is back, they got everything basically from last year that got them to the Super Bowl, and as long as everything works out, I think they got, another shot to make it deep into the playoffs. So we'll see how it works out since they're the home team as well. I think they're just going to basically stomp over the Jets. I do think that it could be close if Aaron Rodgers plays well, but him being gone for so long, he's going to have to work off the rust this week 1. I think they're going to get stomped. I know I originally said I thought it was going to be close, but after thinking a little bit more, I don't think it's going to be close. I think that the 49ers are just going to end up stomping the Jets. It's going to be, I'd say, I don't want to do it to them, but like 40-20. I do think that it's going to be by multiple scores, maybe 3 scores that the 49ers win, just because there's a lot of turmoil with the Jets. It's not getting discussed enough, especially with Hassan Reddick not back. He's the only player still holding out, and there's so much turmoil with that. Like, how? How can there be that much turmoil? Like, I just don't have a lot of faith in the Jets this year with all the drama surrounding them, even though this is the most hype they've ever been with the best quarterback they've ever had in so long. There's there's so many question marks there. It's hard to sit there and actually believe that the Jets are going to be a competent franchise and actually, take control of that division. I don't see it. So that's my prediction. I think 49ers will win very, very strongly in that regard. They're going to put up a lot of points. They're going to end up winning by multiple scores. Final prediction is 40-20 for the 49ers. So, and that would be the final game of the week. And of course, we will be back next week on Thursday to cover everything. Go ahead and go over all those games, see how they turned out, and see if I was correct on any of these predictions. It's always fun to cover this stuff, guys. Greatly appreciate anyone for tuning in and listening to me ramble. It's been a lot of fun covering the NFL so far. Super excited to get the season actually started and see how everyone plays in these more meaningful games. So look forward to seeing you guys back next week so we can cover this stuff again. And yeah, this is Honest Football Talk, and this is Thomas Long, guys, and I'm signing off. You guys take care, guys. Have a good one. Peace.